No to co, zwiedzamy. Ja się nagrywam. Hi.
Hi everyone, I'm Renata, a cross triathlon and MTB athlete from the south of Poland, member of the Polish WM Tri-Self sports team. We train hard, race harder, and never stop chasing limits. This year, after racing in Slovakia, I qualified for the Xterra World Championship in Molveno, Italy. In this video, I'll take you behind the scenes of Xterra. Not just a race. It's a mindset, a challenge, an adventure. Let's ride.
No właśnie myślę, że musimy się na chwilę powstrzymać.
Here's the Xterra World Championship bike course. 2 loops, 16 kilometers each. It starts flat, with 3 kilometers along the shore of Lake Molveno, and then comes a brutal 7-kilometer climb straight into the Brenta Dolomites. The reward? 6 kilometers down, pure flow. Jumps, berms, twisting trails, power, precision, and skill are all tested here. 32 kilometers total, around 1,200 meters of climbing. Xterra Molveno, where power meets precision. Molveno, a postcard village in the heart of Trentino. Lake below, Dolomites above, and even hidden in mist, it feels alive. In summer, it's full of bikers, hikers, and Paganella bike park riders, while in winter, it transforms into a cozy ski village. For us, it's the perfect Xterra stage. A quick photo, deep breath, and we roll. The first section is flat and fast along the lake, with bridges ahead. Slippery, wet, tricky. Calm scenery, but every tire whispers danger. What is Xterra? It's an off-road triathlon, swim, mountain bike and trail run, but across wild terrain, not smooth roads. Born in Maui in 1996, back then it was called Aquaterra. Over time, it evolved into a global adventure where athletes meet nature and themselves. The X stands for the unknown, the untamed terra. In 2025, the Xterra Worlds come to Molveno, Italy. A course mixing alpine climbs, technical trails, and spectacular views. This isn't just a race film, it's a journey. From Molveno village to the mountains, through roots, mud, and adrenaline. Let's go! Now the climb starts. 7 kilometers up. Each turn steeper, each breath harder. Legs burn, lungs scream. This is where the race separates. Shift gears, fight gravity, stay focused. Fire uphill. That's the mindset. Grit, resolve and patience. Xterra at its purest. And here it gets wild. Roots, stones, mud. The trail changes, unpredictable. 1 second fine, the next sliding sideways. During pre-ride it looked perfect, but on race day, chaos. Riders all around you. Lines disappear. The ground alive beneath your wheels. Sometimes the smartest move is to get off, push, and find traction. Strategy, not pride. The race turned this section into a muddy kingdom. Deep, sticky, wild. Even standing still was a challenge. Shoes sinking, bikes slipping, total battle.
No i nie wiem.
After that ride, we knew something had to change. We swapped tires from hard race slicks to true mud tires with open tread blocks, soft compound, and better grip.
Na prawo idę.
Pressure down, traction up. The next day, ladies pre-ride, and wow, what a difference. Sections that felt impossible now became smooth and flowy. That's MTB, constant thinking, adapting, full focus, plan, react, adjust. That's why I love this sport. It challenges both body and mind. Hours of climbing, sweat, and silence. Finally, the crest. We reach the upper lake, wrapped in thick mist. No peaks, no horizon, just fog, silence, and the sound of our breath. It's mysterious, unreal. You can't see far, but you feel everything. The mountain hides itself, yet its power is everywhere. Quiet, humbling, unforgettable. And then, out of the fog, the trail drops away, downhill. Welcome to Blade Runner. Banked berms, smooth arcs, natural jumps. You lean, trust, fly. Pure rhythm. Bike, rider, trail, one motion. This is why we ride. The pain is gone. Just flow, pure joy. Next up, Goonies. Not for the faint-hearted. Loose soil, sharp rocks and mud trenches, every line a gamble. In race conditions, it's brutal. Paths buttered, water seeping, edges crumbling. You struggle, dismount, push, risk a line, pray the wheel holds. But overhead, the sky forest peaks, watching, rewarding every bit of persistence. This was a pre-ride, filmed days before race day. The trail was perfect, clean, fast, clear. But race day, always different. Dozens of athletes around you, competition adding pressure and tempo. It changes everything. This video is our memory log. No race footage, because that day we were all in. The race went great. Strong finish in my age group, bike leg on plan, powerful, steady, focused. Xterra will definitely stay in my plans next year, because once you feel that energy, you can't stop at one. Xterra is demanding, rewarding, unforgettable. And remember, this is just one part. There's also the swim and the run. Cross triathlon isn't just a sport. It's a mindset, a way of life. If you're looking for a real adventure, this is it. Xterra, more than a race, it's a journey.